Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I want to ask you a question, and it's probably the hardest, toughest question you have to ask yourself in crypto. Right now, I'm going to ask you the most complicated question you'll have to answer, and I want you to leave your most honest answer in the comments below, and it's this. Do you really believe you're going to make money in crypto? It might seem silly. That question is the one we have to ask ourselves, to do a bit of introspection and come to a conclusion. Do we believe we're going to make money with cryptocurrencies? Again, I'm asking you directly, and I want you to leave your most honest answer in the comments. We're all here to learn. We're all here to get better. On this channel, I'm not going to sell you a dream. I'm not going to tell you you're going to become a millionaire, sell Bitcoin at $250,000. Pay attention, the biggest alt season in crypto history is coming and you're going to make 20 times your money on Ethereum. I'm not going to tell you that, okay? An alt season could come and obviously will make money, and I really hope it does, and personally, I believe it will. If we do get an alt season, I personally don't think it'll be as strong as the one we had in the last cycle. But that's not what's important. The important thing is, do you think you can make money in this cycle? Yes or no? In this video, we're going to talk about what it means to be part of the 10% who actually make money with crypto. What is it that people who make money in crypto do? Because, for better or worse, there are very few of them. Usually, the people who make money in crypto either break even or even make a lot, precisely because the vast majority of people lose money with cryptocurrencies. Let's go straight to the screen. In this video, I'm not going to tell you to subscribe if you like the video or to hit the like button. I'm not going to tell you anything like that. Let's really get to what's important. When are you going to sell your cryptocurrencies? As I've already mentioned on this channel, I'm not going to try to sell you a story, okay? When are you going to sell your cryptocurrencies? That's the question you need to ask yourself, because if you don't sell them, if you keep holding, the cycle ends, there's a market pullback, a retest, and you haven't sold your cryptocurrencies, you're going to think the market will go up again, because that's what always happens. And we're going to see that throughout the video. On November 8th, 2021, when we had the pullback that took Bitcoin from $68,000 down to $60,000, everyone thought the cycle was going to recover. Everyone thought Bitcoin was going to $100,000. You can see a page around here that's in Chernobylian language, which we'll take a look at a bit later so you can see what's on that website. In 2017, on December 17th, 2017, when Bitcoin hit $20,000 and then dropped to $15,000. Surprise, everyone thought Bitcoin was going to hit a new AVH again. Everyone thought that Bitcoin was going to hit $20,000, $30,000 again because adoption was really about to happen, because everyone was really going to buy cryptocurrencies. When are you going to sell your cryptocurrencies? That's the most important question you need to ask yourself right now. Let's go straight to this magic Excel sheet that I made for the channel. Time between dates, 1 year and 5 months, from May 10th, 2020 to November 8th, 2021. In this cycle, in the previous cycle, we had a massive alt season, the biggest in the history of cryptocurrencies, where we saw Bitcoin go up almost 8 or 9 times, Ethereum went up 25 or 30 times, XRP also multiplied by a crazy amount, and most cryptocurrencies multiplied by insane amounts as well. Again, on the macroeconomic level, we are not at the same point. This video isn't about FUD either. This video is not about FUD. This video is simply to let you know that making money with cryptocurrencies, given what we're going to see in this cycle, is complicated. Give me a few minutes because I'm going to show you why. If we go a little further ahead in this Excel sheet, you'll notice that in that year, 2021, Bitcoin did almost 7.72x, Ethereum 25x, XRP 6.47x, and Bitcoin Cash 2.75x. And looking at the top 100 cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap, we can see that Dogecoin did 115x. And yes, Dogecoin did 115x. Theta did 55x, Cardano did 44x. The current cycle conditions aren't exactly the same as what we had in the previous cycle. But we can go even further. In this magic Excel sheet, which takes into account not only the top 100 cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap as of December 8, 2021, we also consider the cryptocurrencies that moved from the top 500 to the top 100 on CoinMarketCap, or even those that appeared later than May 10, 2020, when we had the previous Bitcoin halving. Not the previous one, because that was in April 2024, but the one before that. And I want you to see the following, so you can see it for yourself. At the beginning of this video, what I want is to whet your appetite, okay? As we usually say here in Andalusia, I'm not sure if people say it in other parts of Spain, but anyway, I want to whet your appetite so you can see what could really be earned in the previous cycle due to the macroeconomic conditions. In the previous cycle, projects like Shiba Inu, and this is a fact, you can check it yourself, made 54,777 times your money. Not from the very beginning, not just when Shiba Inu first appeared. This is already taking into account that Shiba Inu had a certain market cap. Helium did 2,441 times your money. Axie Infinity, the most important play-to-earn gaming project we've had in the history of cryptocurrencies. Then there are some projects from 2024 that I uploaded to the channel saying they were basically trash and they've already died by now. There was hate in the comments, but oh wow, Solana 452 times, Arweave 150 times, Cadena 47 times, The Sandbox 38 times, Yearn Finance 31 times, etc., etc., etc. These are from projects that made it into the top 100 cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap, which were not part of the top 100 cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap as of May 10th, 2020. The next thing you really need to keep in mind is, have a plan, and let's analyze this in a very thorough way. We're going straight to Bitcoin dominance. We have to take into account how this Bitcoin dominance works, and right now it still hasn't dropped. At the moment, there's still hope ahead. We can still have that hope. In fact, if we go straight here to combine several dominances, if you don't know how this works, you just go directly to BTCD, Bitcoin dominance, and here you add USDT.D and set it to percentage, then you add another one and put USDC.D, and you add that to the combination as well. We click enter, and right now we can see that we have 70% dominance just between Bitcoin, USDT, and USDC. You really need to keep this in mind. At some point, we could reach this area here. Obviously, of course we can, but we have to be responsible and take profits little by little. And usually, I never get this serious in any video, but what I'm seeing is just because of the FOMO that's going on in the market. There's not extreme FOMO yet, there's not extreme greed, but that moment will come. Believe me, that moment is going to come again and 90% of people are going to lose money again. Why? Because an expectation will be created that's way beyond what is a responsible expectation, the one you had at the beginning, the one you had when you had a plan. All right, let's go straight to the price of Bitcoin and we can see the following. In the previous cycle, when we were at $3,000 in February 2020, we had a tremendous surge up until April 2021. From December 2020 to May 2021, we had the most significant alt season in the history of cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin appreciating by almost 17 times in total. Here we have a first guideline at the technical analysis level that, on a weekly basis, we touched again, then a second guideline, the first one isn't surpassed, we touch this second one again, it breaks, and finally, the bear market begins. Currently, we are in an upward channel since November 2022 after the FTX collapse, following that tweet from good old Changpeng Zhao. And we can see that from here, Bitcoin starts another bullish trend. Thanks so much. A 7x from this point here up to the current all-time high, 600%, 7 times. We can already see that by drawing the Fibonacci retracement on the weekly chart, there are some points where it seems like the cycle was going to end, especially if we add some indicators to this, the Relative Strength Index, RSI, and the MACD. Now you can see the following here, a weekly rise, extreme overbought, it stays that way for a few weeks, then another rise, it hits, and from there it goes down. Currently, in this cycle, first rise in the RSI on the weekly chart, oversold, overbought, second rise, overbought, third, and now we're practically on the fourth. We're not rising as much anymore, but could we go up from here to this area here? We could easily reach $200,000. Always have a plan. Always manage your risk. With the MACD, it's exactly the same, and I'm fully aware that this video isn't made to get people to click or to keep them watching the whole thing, but honestly, I've reached a point where I'm getting a bit tired of the videos I see on YouTube. Alright, I'm starting to get a bit tired of videos I see telling you you'll be the next millionaire, and you've just come in right now with $1,000 thinking you're going to make like 100 times your money. That's not going to happen, okay? So, I really hate to be the one to tell you this, but that's just the reality. The vast majority of people lose money precisely because they don't have a plan. They just let themselves be guided by videos they watch, by tweets, by people they think know more than they do, if that's your case, and they end up losing money because they end up holding on too long, they build up expectations, and they end up losing that money precisely because they also invest in cryptocurrencies that, in the next cycle, never reach that AVH again. We can see that, in terms of the MACD, the exact same thing happened in the previous cycle. First big rise with the moving averages staying up here, then it pulls back, second rise, we fall, moving averages down here on the MACD, and then we go back up. In this cycle, we have the first push, a very big push, a drop, another very big push, another drop, and now we're starting the next push. Just as Bitcoin cycles work, which usually last from the halving until the end of the bull run, about a year and 5 months, this could be, the last rise. I'm not telling you this to spread FUD. I'm telling you because I want you to make money. I really want you to make money, and I don't want you to end up holding for another 3 or 4 years. And if you haven't built your portfolio properly, you'll probably end up holding cryptocurrencies that will never reach their AVH again. Also, taking into account this part here about how the altcoin season works, what's really important isn't this. What's important is the year season, okay? How the altcoin year index works. Currently, in this cycle, we haven't had an alt season. We haven't had an altcoin year like we did in the previous cycle. Honestly, I don't want to see anyone from this channel. Even if you bought in at the wrong time, it really doesn't matter. Gamakik doesn't care at all at what levels you bought. If at any point, because I've also seen this in my Telegram group, which you can find in the description of this video, it's completely public and a lot of people talk through that Telegram group. I've read on Telegram that when we were in November, December, or I've read on Telegram that when we had that we still haven't had an alt season, the alt season that everyone kept promising hasn't arrived yet. But you don't need the alt season to arrive for you to start taking profits. If you're already seeing on this website, on blockchaincenter.net, that you have an altcoin year in the 55 zone, start taking profits little by little. In other words, don't wait for the altcoin year or for this indicator to reach this part here, or for Bitcoin to have a 45% dominance before you start taking profits. You don't know if that's going to happen. Nobody knows if that's going to happen. Let's manage our risk. It's not about just buying once, selling once, and you've made money. No. You buy here, sell here, sell here, sell here, sell here, sell here, and all of this together will make you earn a little less than if you had sold right here. But the important thing is that now you're part of the group of people who make money with cryptocurrencies. The next thing I want to show you is this. This is from 5 months ago, December 6th, 2024. These are some reflections I usually share at the end of the videos. I don't always do it, but well, in this case I did. I want you to listen carefully. By the way, I want to mention, and I really appreciate it, that in the description of this video you'll find some exchanges, some with KYC like BitGet, which is one of my main exchanges, actually my main one, and you'll also find others without KYC. If you want to support me, you'll get a percentage discount on fees. Me too. I want all of us to win here, not just me, but absolutely everyone. And based on what you trade, I'll also get a commission. So everyone wins here. You save money on fees, and I also get something out of it. Especially if you want to support me, I truly appreciate it. Let's continue. Remember Solana? I sold 40% of my Solana at $250, $260. Well, that's the importance of taking profits. Part of that 40% I sold, I bought back at $230. I got 10% more Solana. I'll keep taking profits as Solana goes up again, and that extra 10% will be pure profit. So guys, little by little, you have to keep taking profits. Regardless of whether we think a cryptocurrency could do a 10x, 15x, or even 20x, it's more sensible and we'll feel more at ease if we take profits, because you never know what's going to happen in crypto. We don't know if tomorrow there might be a correction in Bitcoin that takes it from $103,000 down to $92,000. Honestly, nobody knows, and it happened just yesterday. No one knows what happens. No one knows what's going to happen a month from now on a macroeconomic level, and it's true that there are still a lot of cryptocurrencies with a long way to go in this cycle. But please, let's not forget to stay focused, keep our feet on the ground, and take profits, because on the last day of the cycle, no one is going to come to your house. No one is going to come to my house and say, "Hey, Johnny, today is the last day of the cycle." Oh, okay, great. Hyung. No, no one is going to come. All right, so on the last day of the cycle, whoever hasn't sold, honestly, the chances of losing money are pretty high, because we're going to realize the cycle is over, and it doesn't matter if it ends in January, February, March, April, May, or August of 2025. When that moment comes, we won't know that that day is the day the cycle ended. All right, we'll only realize it as the weeks and months go by when Bitcoin. I was laughing because, damn, here I am with these Hello Kitty headphones. It looks like since I sold Solana back then, I finally managed to buy myself headphones that cost €5 more. Alright. But anyway, it just made me laugh, but that really doesn't matter at all. I also want you to check out this video over here, okay? And this has to do with February 2025, when we were in extreme fear. I repeat, extreme fear. It already seems like the cycle was over. The video title was Bitcoin at $78,000. You can't be calm, because if market sentiment reflects how others feel, you can't be calm, and I understand that. I've been through this with cryptocurrencies many times, and it always ends happening the same way. They get rid of retail investors, buy up a ton at lower prices, and the price goes up and retail jumps back in 15 or 20% higher than the price they sold at, because they don't want to be left out. When the greed index hits 90, 95 points, when we're in extreme greed, people will think there's still a lot more cycle ahead and won't sell. Guys, when cryptocurrencies go up again, I don't want to see anyone from this community, when Bitcoin is back at $100,000, fail to take profits. Responsible, aware, don't think we have to make 8, 9, 10, 12, many times our money. Average out the multiplier. If we take out 3 times, 2.5 times, that's what we take. Important thing isn't to get rich in this cycle, it's to preserve your wealth. So, in November, December, as I've said publicly, I sold 50% of my Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. And that was practically 50% of my portfolio. So at 75, 85,000, after saying I was taking profits, which I think, publicly, there hasn't been a single content creator who has openly said they sold 50%. I bought back in at 75, 85,000, swapping part of my Solana and part of my Ethereum for Hedera. That's what I've done. Okay. That doesn't mean that now Hedera is going to appreciate much more than Ethereum and Solana, but at least that's what I've done. Well, with the part 1 sold, I'm already back in the green. In fact, to be completely honest, at $98,000, I've already sold 10%, okay? But if it reaches $109,000, I'm going to sell another percentage. I've already told this to the people in the membership, in my private group, which you can find in the description of this video, the membership, in case you want to check it out through the WAP platform. And there I also have an Excel sheet with the selling prices for more than 100 cryptocurrencies. But anyway, taking into account what we've been seeing throughout the video, let's keep the following in mind. Don't change the plan, because what I just showed you in the videos, I could have let myself be influenced by the trending content creator, I could have let myself be swayed by my buddy, I could have let myself be influenced by my neighbor. Don't change the plan. Try to learn and improve, and keep gaining more knowledge each time. You might make mistakes, obviously, and everyone makes mistakes. Me first, but I try to improve from my mistakes. Don't change the plan. Have a plan and stick to the plan, as the English say. What do I mean by this? If you make a mistake, okay. In the first crypto cycle, when we were at this point here, there was extreme FOMO just by looking at the indicators. I didn't live through that time. Just by looking at indicators, people already thought, again, I didn't live through that time. People already thought that Bitcoin was going to go from $1,100 to literally $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I know this because I've gone into forums and read a lot of comments. So what happened from there? Bitcoin dropped 86% over the next 440 days. 435, 430 days if you look at the weekly chart. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. Look at this huge rise. And this huge rise coincides with the next cycle. This rise, here we are literally on December 11th, 2017, which was when I started. And I thought that when this hit $20,000, which it practically did, we were going straight to 30,000. What happened? For 476 days, about 450 or so, up to this point here, 430, 440, Bitcoin dropped 84%. It dropped a little less than in the previous cycle. Why? Because there's more money invested in Bitcoin. Let's go straight to the next cycle, the one from 2020, 2021, which is basically the one most people have experienced, unless this is your first cycle. We're going straight to November 2021. And now I want to show you something. Bitcoin was practically at $70,000. And here, I remember it perfectly. If you went online, everyone was predicting Bitcoin would hit $100,000. Here, I already lost money here. In this cycle, I lost money. Okay, where didn't I lose money? In this cycle. In this one, I didn't lose money. Why didn't I lose money? Because I sold before everyone else. Basically, I mean, it's not that I was much smarter, it's just that I decided to make less money, but at least make sure I got something. We don't have a crystal ball. I sold around this part here, okay? Around this area here. So, I stopped making money, but what happens is, if I had waited one more month, I would already be losing it, because you have to be very clear about this. The first time the cycle ends and Bitcoin pulls back, everyone is going to think, or at least the vast majority of people will think, that we're going to recover. The vast majority of people are going to think that the cycle is still ahead of us, because now the macroeconomy, because now there's going to be an injection, because now I don't know what, because now some conflict is going to end, because now something is going to happen. Guys, what governments are really interested in is buying Bitcoin as cheaply as possible, and the same goes for BlackRock, even MicroStrategy, even if it seems otherwise. If MicroStrategy could choose, they'd buy it at 30,000, not at 100,000 like they're doing now. So that moment will come and we don't know when. That's exactly why you shouldn't stretch things out more than you should. Have a plan, stick to that plan no matter what, so to speak, because from here on out, what comes next is a 77% drop for 100 days where Bitcoin kept falling, and we had to wait for a major disaster to happen, which was the collapse of FTX in November 2022. And from that point on, that's when the market started to recover. The market started to recover when we got one of the worst pieces of news in the history of cryptocurrencies. Think about that. And in this cycle, the opposite is going to happen. In a bull market, the opposite happens. And I know I'm getting really serious in this video, but honestly, I see so many things online that just don't make sense. And what worries me most is that the vast majority of people actually follow that, okay. They follow that out of expectation, out of hope, because they believe this is going to solve something in their lives, okay. And the market couldn't care less about that. In fact, what the market wants is for people to be in need. Why? Because people who aren't in need will take advantage of that and use it against you. Alright, next point, the media will make you believe the opposite. In the previous cycle, you'll see what happened. Let's go straight to November 7th, 2021, with Bitcoin at $63,326.99. And there was around this time, at the end of 2021, when it seems like Bitcoin was going to hit $100,000. I'm not the one saying it. If we look directly at what the fear and greed index was back then, right now it's at 70 points. Alright, a lot of people are currently saying, well, but we're still not in extreme FOMO. I mean, we're practically at $110,000 and there's no FOMO. People aren't FOMOing. Look, this happened in November 2020. This happened in March 2021. Check out the fear and greed index. It was at 90 something points. Alright, what happened in November 2021? That's when the cycle ended. The Bitcoin fear and greed index was at 73 points. It was just a little higher than where we have it right now. Again, and this goes for me too, okay? I don't think the cycle is going to end just yet. I don't think so. But I've been telling you for a few months now, this is the time to buy, and now I'm not telling you it's the time to buy anymore, okay? Now what I'm going to start telling you is, little by little, as your cryptocurrencies go up, start taking profits. Because I don't want to feel bad with my community. I don't want to feel bad with you all. I want you guys to really make money. I don't want you to get into some referral link I have for any exchange and I get rich at the expense of you losing your money, okay? Because that's what usually happens. But anyway, putting that aside, if we go straight to this year, 2021, and filter directly from November 1st, 2021 to November 25th, 2021, this is current information, and scroll down a bit, we can see the following. At that time, we weren't in extreme FOMO, there was just a bit of greed in the market, and you could already see the following headlines. I don't know why everything here is showing up in French, but, well, it doesn't really matter. The first one, Bitcoin crash, November 19th, 2021, Chernobyl-like page. Well, I don't know what it says here. I just hope it doesn't say anything negative because otherwise they're going to ban my channel. But anyway, next. We can see here, will Bitcoin manage to reach $100,000? Bitcoin whales prepare for the mega bull runs, November 4th, 2021 at 16:31 by Juan Jose. During the past week, the world's largest cryptocurrency has been consolidating in the 60 to 63,000 range. We've also heard a lot of institutional and regulatory discussions about Bitcoin after the launch of the first Bitcoin futures ETF in the United States. And the wallets of Bitcoin whales holding more than 1,000 Bitcoins are at all-time highs. And from there, that's when the previous cycle ended. This ETF thing refers to something else. These aren't the ETFs we have right now with Grayscale, BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, and so on. Will Bitcoin manage to reach $100,000? November 19th, 2021. Cryptocurrencies are on everyone's lips and in many people's wallets, more and more so, especially during the so-called bull run periods. That is, bullish runs in which their prices just keep going up and up, whether gradually or all at once. Bitcoin, the queen of the crypto universe, has been hitting new all-time highs these days, just like Ethereum, which holds second place among those with the highest market capitalization. Today, Ethereum has surpassed 4,200 euros, nearly $5,000. Exactly 1 year ago, it cost 400 euros, a little over $400. On November 11th, 2020, Bitcoin was worth almost $15,000. The numbers speak for themselves, and we can see how it's being estimated that cryptocurrencies could rise to $100,000, that Bitcoin could reach $100,000. Spoiler, it didn't happen. The cycle ended. Year 2022, the fall of FTX, the end of the previous bear market, when it seemed like we were headed straight for just over $3,000. If anyone remembers that YouTube meme, let me know in the comments. And yet, no, we didn't drop to just over $3,000. We went straight to $110,000 over the years, of course. And that's what's going to happen in this cycle as well. In this cycle, what's going to happen is that it will look like we're heading straight for 180,000, 190, 200,000, that altcoins are going to appreciate by 10, 15, 20 times. Again, I think Bitcoin dominance is going to drop, and that we're even going to have at least a small alt season, because logically, the people who really make money with cryptocurrencies, the big players, the institutions, the market makers, the exchanges, the people with insider information and capital, those are the ones who are truly going to profit from crypto. For them, it's worth it at some point to move their money from Bitcoin to the rest of the altcoins, so they can also take money from us on that side. That said, please don't get carried away by FOMO, don't get swept up by expectations, and don't think you're going to retire in this cycle. Most likely, that's not going to happen, and you don't need to aim for that. In for the long term, think 10 years ahead, and you'll realize you'll be much less worried mentally. You'll be able to rest a bit more because you're probably not taking as many risks as those people who are chasing 100 times returns in one cycle. And you'll also notice that, even in terms of knowledge, in the long run, you'll have learned much more. Guys, That's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think about what we've discussed. Do you think there's a lot of hype being sold on YouTube and social media? Or do you think it actually makes sense and it's not just hype? What's your strategy for this cycle? When do you plan to sell at least your Bitcoin? Based on that, I assume that's what you'll do with the rest of your cryptocurrencies. Leave it in the comments. Thank you for all the supportive comments. See you in the next video. Take care and see you next time. By the way, guys, if you've made it to this part of the video, this just happened right now, okay? I think during the video I mentioned that I was going to sell at $109,000. I've talked to a lot of people throughout the day. I'm not sure if I mentioned it during the video or not, but anyway, in the membership, which, as I said, you can find in the video description, there are only a few spots left. In one section, you have just the membership, and in the other, if you go to the website, you get the membership and the courses. I want to play you an audio because this just happened right now. Because of what Christian said, I checked it myself too. I was recording a video. I just sold the first part of Bitcoin, $109,070 something dollars. I need to check the exact amount, but I think it was about 25% of all my Bitcoin. So I've already sold about 30% basically of all my Bitcoin. And honestly, I'm really happy about it. This Bitcoin that I sold at almost $110,000 is the Bitcoin I bought between 85 and 75,000. That's why it was so important that in November I took profits on 50% of my Bitcoin. So guys, let's go all in. Let's hope this can keep going up. But anyway, the most important thing is that taking profits along the way. So honestly, I'm really happy. Now all that's left, guys, is for dominance to drop a little and for all the sell prices we have set for Ethereum, which I think is also getting close to the first sell zone, to start getting hit little by little. Honestly, damn, I just saw it right now and I'm really happy. I hope things are going well for you too, guys. Guys, remember, take profits little by little. Seriously, you'll be glad you did. Really, guys, that's it for now. See you in the next video. Take care.